Namaste, my friends. Today I was thinking that I would tell you a little bit about how is it to be a foreign girl pregnant in India, especially now during COVID-19. I really want to point out that in no way is anything that I say meant as a criticism or judgment against the Indian system of doing things. It's just that I come from a very different country. I grew up in a different kind of setting, so there are some things that feel more comfortable and natural to me personally. And anyways, no matter where I am, I'm very happy to be pregnant. I know that there will be nothing that we can't deal with. It's just that I feel that for myself, it would be possible to have some things in a better way. One of my biggest concerns is the fact that so far we have been visiting the hospitals like once or twice every month, and considering how much there are other patients too, and it's not just some kind of like private pregnancy maternity wing, it makes me a little bit concerned in my state that I would possibly catch COVID-19. Of course, it can't be avoided. There are maybe other issues that are more critical when it comes to pregnancy, so we do have to go and we try to take as good care as possible about safety. But the number of infections is much less in Finland. They are maybe heading towards the second wave now, but there are still roughly like 30 infections per day. Obviously, the thing is that Finland is a much smaller country, which at least in this situation pays out really well. But the growing number of infections in India certainly has me very, very worried. But it's not just about COVID-19, because if I am to be completely honest with you guys, if I had the free choice, I would not necessarily want to be pregnant and giving birth here in India, because I'm just not that comfortable with the Indian system of things. I know how things work in Finland. I have a lot of experience of the Finnish healthcare system. That's where I grew up. So I would seriously very much like to be able to go through this process and experience in my native country. But I must of course say that all the medical staff here in India is highly qualified. They have a superb amount of theoretical medical knowledge and skills. It's just that I don't feel like they either have the skills or time to focus on the patient as an individual and to the mental side of things, which I think especially during pregnancy is a very, very critical thing. All the medical staff, especially now during the COVID-19 situation, is just in such a hurry. Everyone is just running around. So that doesn't really leave any time for the patient. And in Finland, the system goes that unless it's the emergency room, you're supposed to have an appointment and then you get your 30 to 60 minutes of undivided attention from the medical professional. But that's just not the case here. It's I feel like from the ultrasound technician, I get like maybe 5 minutes, and then I get the same 5 minutes from my doctor. And that's just like not enough to go through all the questions and symptoms and worries that I have in my head, and also doesn't very much leave privacy for the patient, because especially when I'm in my ultrasound or when I'm talking about the pregnancy and my worries and questions with the doctor, it is something that I think should only be for the medical staff and my husband. But my husband isn't even allowed to enter the ultrasound room. I should be able to share the moment of our baby on the screen with him. And it's not just the ultrasound room that he's not allowed in, because in Indian hospitals, especially the government hospitals, the husband isn't allowed in the delivery. And oh my God, what? That is like the number one important event of any person's life, delivering their baby, and the husband isn't allowed to be there. And again, this is not just some kind of COVID-19 rule, this is like an actual guideline for the hospitals. In some private hospitals, it might be possible to get the husband there with you, but when on the last checkup I asked my doctor about this, he said that we'll see. And I'm just like, seriously, I am not going to give birth if my husband is not there in the room with me to give me support and be able to advocate on my behalf to the doctor if I'm there like completely distraught due to the pain and all. So yep, definitely men should also be allowed in the room, because it's not just a woman's thing, and not every one of us have her mother or her mother-in-law there to be with them. So this is definitely something that needs to change in India. I also feel like the little amount of time that doctors have for their patients doesn't give the chance for them to give guidance to the patients. And as a first-time mother and someone who has been constantly told shouldn't be Googling about symptoms, shouldn't be Googling about like some imaginary situations, I've tried to learn that I will just like seek the guidance from my doctor and not the internet. And neither one of us have our families here close to us. So there is definitely a big need to have a professional there explaining how things go, how to prepare, and all this kind of mental support. And of course, then there is this like major concern that I have due to COVID-19 about how is it going to be during the labor, because I have read many instances, though none of them are from India, that the lady has to wear a mask during the delivery. And oh my God, I can't even imagine doing that, because I have asthma and I have sometimes trouble breathing anyways, and I don't feel comfortable in a mask. So I can't even imagine that, holding my breath while I'm in such freaking pain that, please, I really don't want to wear a mask during the delivery. Even though I like to think of myself as an independent person, I just suddenly really need my mom here. I feel like I'm suddenly a little baby myself, and I just like really need my mom's guidance and her hugs and her to just talk away my fears. And hopefully my sister might be able to come here for a few weeks next April, when the baby already should be here. And then my mom is retiring next June, and we are planning that she'll come here for several months to spend the time with her first grandchild. So at least I hope that that will be possible, even though now I just have to rely on their support on WhatsApp. I've also noticed that somehow all the pregnancy cravings are things that I really loved when I was a kid myself. And obviously, growing up in Finland, it's pretty much Finnish food that I ate. And oh my God, what would I not give to have those same foods that my mom cooked for me, and just like Finnish ingredients. Like even the difference between cheeses in India and Finland is just like so big. The ice creams are so different. But I am trying to figure out what kind of foods would my mother be able to send me here from Finland. I at least think she should be able to send me canned mackerel in ketchup sauce. Really hope that it's possible. And also rye bread, which I loved when I was a kid. We'll see. And of course, then this whole climate thing is a concern because now the monsoon is getting over. And I'm really thankful that it wasn't hot and humid during my first trimester because I was so nauseous all the time, and probably would have been even more if it had been hot. But now it's again starting to get more hot and humid, and of course, the closer to December, March we get, the more unbearable it will get, and it makes me a little concerned how I will feel when it's almost summer again and I'll be like maybe double this size, because I'm already so sweaty all the time. And one last concern that I have about going through this pregnancy in India, and then of course like stepping to motherhood, is that people in India have very different kinds of beliefs and attitudes on how a woman should be able to handle and carry her pregnancy. Be it about the food restrictions or prenatal health care or even just exercise. It's just like so different from what I know is are the guidelines in Finland, and I do mostly try to follow the Finnish guidelines because I just find it much more comfortable reading about pregnancy and mothering in Finnish, and I'm pretty able to trust the fact that the regulations in Finland don't have anything to do with our religious beliefs. Basically, my doctor even told me that I shouldn't be eating meat or animal products. That's just not what I think is the case, or not just what I think, that's not what Finnish guidelines think is the thing. Even my Ayurvedic doctor told me that my health needs meat and chicken and fish and all those. And it's just a little bit worrying for me that being in India, being married to an Indian man, being pregnant here, I'm expected to do things the Indian way. But of course, there are some things that I will gladly follow here, but I will also stick to some of my own heritage information from Finland and all that. Of course, there are good things about being pregnant in India too, which is especially the overwhelming love and happiness that I've received from people after my pregnancy news, because even though I don't think that a woman needs a baby to be whole, and I don't think that I should be thought as any kind of goddess through pregnancy and future motherhood, it is kind of nice that a mother receives that kind of level of respect in India. And it's like, because of course this is a big deal for me, so I just love how it's a huge deal for all the Indian people around me too. And it makes me feel like, yeah, so much more enthusiastic about this. And because we don't get people physically around us, so it's just like so much nicer to share this with so many people who are interested in this. So I really hope that you got a good insight on my feelings about pregnancy in India. If you have some tips concerning the issues that I raised up here, please do share them in the comments, and I will be pretty much happy to discuss pregnancy and motherhood in different cultures in the comments. So once again, thank you for watching, and I really hope to see you again soon, be it about pregnancy or any other adventure. So see you guys. Oh, that sounded so